Good morning, my name is Kenny Horsley. I'm with Bennett Graphics in Tucker, Georgia. Today we're going to take you on a virtual tour, show you our facility, show you around some of our Indigo presses as well as some of our other equipment we have in-house. It's great to have you today. Wish you could be here in person, but hopefully this is the next best thing. Come on and let's take a tour. So this is our pre-press department. What we do in here is we pre-flight files from the customers to verify that they hit all specs of what was quoted in the job. What does that mean? Customer sends me the files. I verify if it's 4-color, if it's 4-color plus PMS. I verify if it's going to have be laid out for a digital press or for conventional press, things like that. We have 4 operators that do that within this department. Everybody runs Mac, but they also run parallels in their computer, so they can do Mac or PC. All right, so come on in and let me show you our digital run.
Dwayne 123, Dwayne 123.
So in here, we kind of segmented it off into 2 departments. We have our conventional department and our digital department. So in this section here, behind you, you'll see what we have is a proofer that we use for all of our proofs as far as blue lines go, just a composition proof to verify things are in the right order, pages are in the right place. We also have a proofer that is an Epson 9900. What it does is it actually goes through and verifies our proof color for Heidelberg presses in the conventional world. So to go conventional, as you can see, I now have 2 machines that it takes to operate a Heidelberg press. Also behind you, you'll notice a automated plate setter. It is a Kodak trend setter. It'll burn about 30 plates an hour. It's fully automatic. It'll load the plate, it'll burn the plate, it'll eject the plate, it'll punch the plate, and process the plate. But as you can see, and I'll show you next the difference between conventional and digital, it takes all 3 of these steps just to get a job ready to go to a conventional work. Follow me and let's go into our first digital press. This is our Indigo 7900. It is a 13 by 19, 1800 sheet an hour 4x4 press. As you see, as we deliver in the feeder here, what we have going on, we're actually running, and we're actually running in sets. So if you notice, we're doing a jog offset. So that already saves time when it gets to our binder department. It's being run in a collated order and being offset, so binder can literally pick them up by set to get those done. This is a 7-color press. Walk this way, show you inside of my ink cabinet. I actually have white, cyan, magenta, yellow, black, spot color of any color I want, and in this press we've chosen to run silver. So we've extended our color gamut by running silver to make up metallic colors. That's new by HP and it's hitting it out of the park, guys. Sheet sizes vary. This is a 13 by 19. If you see the red sheet on top, that is a 7900 press. The sheet underneath it is for a 100K and 12,000 press. What that allows us to do is pocket folders, boxes, things like that. It's got too big for a 13 by 19 sheet. All of my digital presses are compatible all the way up to 18-point C2S board. That's opened up a big world for us in pocket folders and boxes that we couldn't achieve before. This is the new 100K. This is brand new to the market. We've baited this press. Again, this 7800 was 1800 sheets an hour. The typical 10,000, 12,000 is about 1,750 sheets an hour. The 100K running in an EPM mode, 3,000 sheets an hour. Guys coming off of this press in EPM mode, but that is 3-color over 3-color. It's the same speed if I'm running grayscale. 4/4, we're averaging about 2,280 sheets an hour. We have been maxing this press out since it came in. We have put most of our workload towards this press, and it is just eating it up, guys. So far, I would have to say this is the best press to me that HP's ever released, in my opinion. All right, guys, the next press in our arsenal, you've already seen our 7900, you've seen our 100K. Now I'm going to move you into the 12,000. It's the same platform as the 100K, just not quite as fast and robust as the 100K. But based on our work, what we do in this building, we're seeing more work trending towards the digital side. So we have to have a fleet of presses to meet our customers' expectations. We receive work up until midnight, and everything's due out by the next day by 3 o'clock. So having these presses that can press on demand, on the fly, changing papers, changing stocks is very important to us. We don't have time to do the plates and the blue lines and the proofs. These jobs come in, they have to hit, they have to go, but most of all, quality still has to be perfect. Okay? Okay guys, for our next press I'm going to show you, we got into about 3 years ago, we got into label printing. We had customers that actually came to us because of our HP presses and the quality that we received and asked us to move into the label world. It is now our fastest growing business inside of our four walls. Let me give you a quick rundown of what this looks like. This is an Indigo 6800. The platform is much like the 7900 minus the duplex. The main difference, guys, that you'll see, the other three presses were all sheet fed. They were individual sheets. On this press, everything's coming off of a roll. It's a 13-inch wide roll. We run in frames, not in sheets, okay? So if you walk up this way, what we can do is inline prime the material. What does that mean? In your sheet-fed world, paper has to be primed. It has to have a certain coating on it to work in an indigo press. In the label world, there's a lot of different types of label material, and it doesn't all come primed. But if my customer asks for it, I still have to deliver that product. So what HP has done is come up with an inline primer that allows me to make that material okay to print on a press on demand. That's very important in our world. So after we go through and prime, we now run through and print. The press itself is basically the same as what a 7900 is, but instead of running on sheets, you're going to run in frames. What does that mean? You're going to get multiple labels within a frame. The way that we separate those so that we know where to trim, these little squares here, they're eye marks. That basically allows the sensor on our finisher to know where to start and stop a label. So after we roll up on the press here, we take that roll and we move it over into our ABG world. This is an ABG finisher. Multiple finishing devices out there. We chose ABG because it fit our standard. It allows us to run the roll off. We can laminate. We can coat. We can actually spot varnish. So if you got specific areas, we can spot varnish it. We'll come through. Here's where we'll actually die cut if we were die cutting down to an individual size or shape. We then come out of that, come through, we trim it down to the size that we want to trim it to. If there was scraps, we would roll it up on the scrapping unit. From there, we come across and we roll up onto our finished product on the end of the press. Now, when we finish our job, as far as the printing and the finishing goes, some jobs will roll up in maybe 10, 20,000 on a roll. Customer wants them in rolls of 500, 800, things like that. That's when we move them to a rewind table. What that allows us to do is take the larger roll and roll them up onto a secondary roll, a much smaller or larger size, based off what the customer's needs are. Ready? Okay, guys. You've seen our footprints of our digital world and what our digital presses look like. This is a conventional press. These are Heidelberg Speedmasters. This is a 6-color with an inline color. Now, in what you've seen in the indigo world, you've seen the inks in the bottom of the press and they go up through bids. If you walk this way, just a quick a show of what the press does. This is the unit where we actually coat it if we want to put a shine or a dull type coating. Each unit from here back holds a specific color. You could have yellow, magenta, cyan, black, Pantone 1, Pantone 2. The main difference is, guys, this press is faster, but it's all static. Whatever I get on sheet 1, I'm going to get on every single one of them. Digital allows me to make every sheet different and unique. Names, addresses, maps, colors, anything you want can change from sheet to sheet, and in some cases, if you're running 4 up, you literally can have 4 or 5 things going on one sheet that's changing. On this press, it's all static. Nothing ever changes. But there's still a world for this press. We're just seeing the digital side of the market grow much more because people are more aiming towards a targeted audience, more so than just running like a large quantity run and hoping that that hits the masses of what they need in advertising. Okay? We have a 5-color Heidelberg also. The difference being, this only does 5 unique colors, where what you just seen done 6. This also has an inline coder on it. Now what we do in this building is we have a scanner on our presses. I send out from the pre-press department CIP3 data that sets the ink keys on these presses. So the pressman will start up, lay a sheet here, scan it, it will appear on his screen, and from here it'll tell him how far off delta-wise he is on those sheets. He can choose to go with what the machine's telling him to do from the scanner, or he can bypass it and make his own move. If he makes his own moves, he moves the keys here. Positive, more ink, negative, less ink, okay? The speeds in I told you in our area, in the indigo room, are fastest press, the fastest press. If you're running one-sided EPM is 6,000 sheets an hour. This press will run 15,000 sheets an hour. That press in there will only do a 29.5 by 20.5. This press will do a 28 by 40. So as you can see, the capacity is bigger and larger and greater, but I have to be static throughout. After leaving our press room, now we've got to move into the finishing area. So now we've got our sheets printed, now we've got to bring them over. We've either got to cut them or fold them or stitch them. We've got to die cut them. There's all kinds of unique, fascinating things we could do. If you look right here, this is our stall folder. Currently we actually have 4 folders through the building. We also have a stitcher over in the corner which allows us to stitch our books together. We also have guillotine cutter. This is a guillotine cutter. I can actually stack about 500 or 600 sheets together, put it in here, and the knife will come straight through and cut it much like butter. But it allows us to be able to finish our books in-house instead of buying them out. So again, at Bennett we offer in-house cutting, folding, stitching, wire-roll, plastic foil, perfect binding. We can do anything you want right down to boxes if that's what you want, okay? Okay guys, over here you'll actually see a Kluge die cutter. This will allow me to die cut an 11.5 by 17.5 inch sheet. What I do is I actually have die boards that there's little knives down in here that if I peel this back you can see a knife down in the bottom. What this does is allows this to sit on a board. A cylinder will come around and mash the sheet in between this die and that sheet of paper and cut those shapes into that sheet of paper. Again, this is an 11.5 by 17.5 sheet. What happens if your sheet's larger? Well, then we move over into our Heidelberg die cutter. This is an original cylinder Heidelberg die cutter. So what this one does, instead of 11.5 by 17.5, it's actually 25.25 by 35 3/8. So what does that mean? It means I can die cut a full sheet. I can die cut big pocket folders, envelopes, things like that. Works the same way, just has much larger dies. This is a pocket folder, as you can see. You got your shape running across, you got your blue tabs, you got your pockets, and here's your business card slips. So this allows me to do a much larger sheet in die cutting. This is a roller. What this allows me to do is actually score or put a crease in a sheet of paper and allows me to put spot glue on it. So if I have a mailer that I'm mailing that prints, folds in half, puts a bead of glue, needs to stay shut for the post office, I'll do that on our rolling machine, okay? Moving here, you'll actually see this. This is a pocket folder gluer. It's called a mold pocket folder gluer. It will allow me to put the sheet in. Stacy, bow forward one. Yes, sir. I'll put a sheet in. As you can see, this has been die cut with that die I just showed you. You will have this machine fold these glue flaps in, put a bead of glue here, fold the 2 pockets up, glues it shut, folds it in half, pocket folder's complete. So guys, in this corner, this is a Kurt Rudy. What is a Kurt Rudy? It does many things. I can wafer seal or I can print. Now, if I have a job coming here that's 150,000 books and they all need to have addresses put on them, probably not going to run 150,000 covers on an indigo because the cost would be too high because of the speed of the machine. I would print those books on a Heidelberg, finish it, bring it over here, and I would inkjet those addresses on. Now, inkjet's not as nice, not as pretty, it's not as clean and neat, but for 150,000 books, that's your alternative. But in the world of digital, once I finish printing, beautiful part is, guys, it comes out ready to go right off the press. I don't have to touch any other machine other than a cutter. So again, the difference being, coming off of a conventional world, I'll go there. Digital world, I never have to touch that. Addresses are already there. All right, guys, in our Heidelberg, when we walked through the Heidelberg room, I showed you that both of those presses had inline coders on it. We can use those presses to code our sheets coming from the Indigo 100K and 12,000, but not from our 7900. Also, those are only AQ compatible. Can't do UVs, things like that. So we had to come up with a solution because our customers want to protect the sheet, but also have a nice, shiny, glossy UV, or maybe they want like a satin look, maybe they want a soft touch feel. So we had to come up with something that's offline or near line. Harrison Bruno was who we chose to go with. With this machine, we can do overall AQs, we can do UVs, anything we want to do to shine and protect that sheet, we would do here in this department. So we'd print the sheets, bring it out here, run it through. Now I've coated it, now protected it, now take it to the cutters and finishers and go that direction. Guys, this is our small press conventional department. I have 2 A.B. Dick presses, one we print envelopes on, one we actually print letterheads on. Earlier we were showing you our trendsetter. This is an aluminum plate, guys. I would have to have one of these for every single color that I'm going to print, whether it be on the Heidelberg or here, to be able to print a job. Both of these are 2-color presses. They're T-heads, means it has 1 blanket, 2 plates, so I'm able to put 2 colors on. The quality is great if you're doing solids, not so great if you get into screens. That's where the world of indigos come in so strong. I can now go in and print small quantities of letterheads right down to 10 if that's all you want, and still get the quality as if I was printing on a large Heidelberg conventional press. The A.B. Dicks aren't capable of doing it. So guys, let me introduce you to the newest piece of equipment we've put in here at Bennett Graphics. This is called a Horizon Smart Stacker. What it allows me to do is unique cuts. What does that mean? I'm slitting in line as I'm feeding, but I'm also putting it back in an order. So if I print a bunch of sheets that are 6 up and I print 1,000 sheets, but I need to put them in a specific order, 1 to 1,000, I can actually load the sheets in the back of this machine. It will actually run the sheets. First slitters this way, second slitters would run this way, then it would gather into this unit, and it spits it out on the table on the back of the press. When I showed you the variable data postcards a while ago that already had the digital addresses on them, those were all cut in this machine. Now what else makes this machine unique is it's barcode driven. How does that help? Well, let's say that I go on my Indigo presses and I've got a job that I run that's only 100 sheets of paper that was 8.5 by 11. Then I got 200 sheets of paper that are 5 by 7s on it. Then I got 200 more sheets that's got some 4 by 8s on it. I'll barcode those sheets, and when those sheets come here, they can all just be in one big stack. When it comes up to go to that sheet, it'll read the barcode, moves its slitters, cuts it, comes up to the next one, reads the barcode, changes everything out, cuts it, goes on to the next one. I no longer have to have a person standing there, hands separating, size after size. We send all that information out from the DFE, which is the digital front end of the Indigo, and it controls this Horizon Smart Stacker so that we're able to just push a stack of paper in and cut and go. One operator can do the work of 2 or 3 people now because of this machine. The next department I'm going to walk you into is our wide format department. Again, very fast growing department. We're running this department pretty much around the clock these days. With COVID hitting, there's signs if you walk in the store, I got to stay 6 feet apart. There's barriers that go up and say, hey, you got to stand this far back. If you go to your local swimming pool in your neighborhood, there's signs telling you how many people can be in there. Someone has to print that, and it's usually printed on a wide format machine. What we've decided at Bennett, because we have such a strong partnership with HP, we went down the road of HP wide format. That has helped us tremendously. The quality is unmatched and unparalleled in the market today. Our newest machine that we put in is an R2000. This is a latex printer. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about latex in just a second. As we walk through, again, this is latex. This is our HP 700. This is a UV printer. Now, why would I want some UV and why would I want some latex? If I'm printing latex, I can do stuff like car wraps. I can actually print, I can laminate, and I can actually stretch the material around corners. So if you see wraps going on buildings or going in walls, if you go into a Subway restaurant, the walls are wrapped. If that wall wrap has to stretch or turn a corner, most likely it was ran on a latex printer. Main reason you don't want to crack the ink. Again, that would be run on a latex press. This is a UV press. What does that mean? I'm going to last a little longer outside with the sun bearing down on it, so you'll see a lot of UV printed wide formats. It's going to be signs, things such as that. We'll print them, laminate them, put them outside. The sun doesn't fade them quite as fast, things like that. Also have a laminator, so we laminate in-house. We actually do that internally. We also have another latex machine here. This is our HP 370. Again, quality is phenomenal. Smaller. These are 96-inch sheets here. I'm going to say the speed's probably 3 to 4 times as fast on the larger machines versus the small machine. Got a small trimmer here in the corner. We also do our own sewing in-house. So if we're going to put pole pockets, things like that. If you look up, you'll see a large format of our owner, David Bennett. And if you look here to the side, you'll actually see this pocket, little small pocket here. That's a pole pocket, so that it can be hung up on a sign, maybe outside riding down the street, where you just slide the pieces around 2 poles and it holds it up. Very quick up, very quick down. You'll see a lot of colleges do that, things like that. Maybe for you to come in for that day, they're trying to get you to that school or whatever, they're going to put up signs for advertisement and change it out pretty regularly. That's where a pole pocket type banner would come in. So guys, the next thing I'll show you here, I showed you some die cutting conventionally. This will be our first in a digital die cut. This is called a Kongsberg multi-cut. What does that mean? It means that when I print this in wide format, or if I print it on an indigo, if I print these dots in the corners, this unit will come across and it has a camera. It will find these dots and know where to start and where to stop. On this unit, there is a multi-head unit. In here I can put a scoring wheel, a knife, a router bit, anything that they make tools for that you can cut in your dad's garage, you can cut it here on this table. The only thing we don't do is cut metal. That's only because we can't spray water on the blade to cool it. It's not that the power's not there and the bits aren't there, we just don't have the cooling engine for it. The next fun toy we have here at Bennett Graphics we're going to show you is called a Scodix Ultra. What does the Scodix Ultra do? Let me show you a book here. We got a little bit of shyness in the building with the camera. Scodix Ultra will allow us, Darren, if you'll take a look here up close, it will allow us to put gold foil, silver foil, clear, things like that. If you go through this book and find some really unique stuff, like you can see all the flowers are raised with clear, the water drops come to life, they look like they're literally exploding off the page. Guys, this is very unique, very cool. Customers dig it. They think it's the best thing in the world. It allows us to do textures. Here's the best part, guys. We can do all of this from a digital PDF. So if we proof something, we can literally proof it with just one sheet. And if you want to make a change, we make a change. There is no plates to throw away. There's no high dollar, high sculpture dies that we had built to have this done with. It's all done digitally. How does that happen? When we print in this machine, guys, we put 4 dots in the corner. Those 4 dots come into this machine, and inside this machine, I'm going to crack the door open and hope I don't get in trouble here. Inside this machine, you have 4 IDS cameras. Those cameras will find those spots in the 4 corners. It will then feed in. We'll put our polymer on with inkjet heads, so I can spray any shape of clear that I want onto that sheet of paper. After I put the polymer on, it drops down. Some Scodix machines ends here. This would be all of Scodix, but because ours is a Scodix Ultra, we then come out and we go into our foiling unit. What that will allow us to do is actually put a silver foil, gold foil, things like that on. If you look in here, you can actually see your foil roll. So, what that allows us to do, guys, is really cool. Here in Atlanta, we have a team called the Atlanta Falcons. I'm sure you've all heard of them. We're going to be #1 this year. We're going to beat everybody. I don't want anybody to be jealous of that. But anyway, let's just move on from there. So we actually run the VIP badges for Arthur Blank for the Falcons. He runs 115 badges for every game. That gets you into his suite. And yes, I've tried to get in. They won't let me in. So if you notice, every game is different. Every game is unique. It's who they're playing that day. These, us doing it in here allowed me, the day that we got this, to be able to literally print every single ball game that day, unique, and send it to him. He signed off that day, I printed it that day, cut it that day, and we're done. Now, what stands out the most on this that really should make you kind of go, how'd you do it in the same day? Well, how did you get these die cut shapes that quick? Guys, if I'd have had a traditional die made for this, or if you look at this Atlanta United, these would have to get the job in. I'll do a proof on it, but it'll have little printed lines on it as if you like it, but you couldn't actually physically see what it looked like. We actually have here in-house a Hycon Euclid 3. What is that? That is a digital laser die cutter. It's the #4 in line of what I told you in our die cutters. It's the newest, latest, greatest one on the market. I'm going to take you over and show you that, let you see what that means. Guys, this is our Euclid die cutter. What's unique about the Euclid? It is a laser-driven machine that not only cuts, but it stores in line. So I don't have to cut it here and take it somewhere else to store it. You watch our sheets here, we're actually starting to prep now and go through and cut. So if you come over here, you're going to actually see the lasers. We can get our camera over in there. You'll see those lasers actually cut that sheet. There's 3 unique lasers that'll cut any shape into that sheet that we want cut. Guys, this is on the fly. There's no metal dies made. Now, what it allows us to do is exactly what you've seen while we go on the wall. Arthur Blank comes down here with a file on Monday. Says, I'm in trouble. Like always, we waited to the very last minute, and I've got to have this. What I've done unique was he came in and said, can I just get game 1? Can I just get the 115 badges I need for game 1? We'll worry about the others after that. Guys, I delivered all 10 ball games to him because I printed them digital, I scodexed them digital, and I cut them digital and took them all to him the next day. That is the main reason he will never look to another printer. Not only was I able to print them that quick for him, they're unique. Everyone doesn't have a Scodex machine. Everyone doesn't have an Icon. No one can produce what we're producing here because we're leaning more towards that digital side. I hope you've enjoyed our tour today, guys. You're more than welcome to come visit our facility anytime. Just ask for me. Again, my name's Kenny Horsley. It's nice meeting all of you, and I hope you decide to make a career in printing. It's wide open, guys. Huge market for it. We're fast growing, good money, great career. Come see us.